The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of DigiAll. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to DigiAll Tech News. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. Anthropic has hired Andrej Karpathy, turning one of AI's most recognizable researchers into a bet on faster Claude pre-training research. Alibaba has unveiled the Zhenwu M890 chip and a coming Quen LLM as China pushes harder toward homegrown AI infrastructure. The Pentagon is bringing Shield AI's Hivemind autonomy software to low-cost Lucas attack drones. Google DeepMind has introduced Co-Scientist, a Gemini-based multi-agent system designed to help researchers generate and refine scientific hypotheses. At Google I/O, Google launched Pix, an AI design app for Workspace that takes aim at Canva-style visual creation. Let's start with the talent move, because this one says a lot about where the frontier AI race is concentrating. Andrej Karpathy co-founded OpenAI, led Tesla's computer vision work for Autopilot, and most recently ran the AI education startup Eureka Labs. Now he starts at Anthropic this week, building a team focused on using Claude to accelerate pre-training research, the stage that gives large language models their core knowledge and capabilities. That matters because this is not just a famous name changing badges. Anthropic is competing intensely for top researchers, with Ross Nordin from xAI and Tesla also joining earlier this month, and Karpathy's new mandate points straight at the hard engine room of model progress. The question I keep coming back to is whether this signals a real shift in momentum toward Anthropic, or whether the frontier labs are still trading from the same very small circle of elite people. Either way, the battle is moving deeper than chat features and into the research process itself. Alibaba's chip announcement is really an infrastructure story. In Chongqing, the company introduced the Zhenwu M890, saying it delivers 3 times the performance of the Zhenwu 810E, with 144 gigabytes of GPU memory and 800 gigabytes per second of interchip bandwidth. Alibaba also said its next Quen 3.7 Max large language model is coming soon, and that its T-head chip unit has already shipped 560,000 Zhenwu units to more than 400 customers across 20 industries. Here's the key context. US export restrictions have kept China's AI developers away from NVIDIA's most advanced chips, while Beijing has increased scrutiny of foreign hardware such as the H200. So Alibaba is not just selling a faster part, it is trying to make domestic compute credible at scale. The practical test is how these chips perform outside headline specs, because analysts say Alibaba's platform is gaining traction, but still trails major Western vendors on advertised memory and bandwidth, and compute performance remains the number customers will want to see in real deployments. Now this is where defense technology gets uncomfortable and strategically important at the same time. The Pentagon's Research and Engineering Office plans to integrate Shield AI's Hivemind software into Lucas drones, a $35,000 uncrewed combat platform built by SpectreWorks as a copycat version of Iran's Shahed drones. Hivemind is meant to add swarm coordination, adaptive decision-making, and fully autonomous flight without human intervention. Shield co-founder Brandon Seng argues that cheaper systems can destroy targets at lower cost while keeping US warfighters safer, and he expects the system to be fully functional within the next 2 months before military testing. The bigger issue is battlefield economics. Low-cost drones have exposed how expensive legacy defenses can be forced into bad trades. Hivemind is already flying on one-way attack drones in Ukraine, has been tested on an Anduril combat drone, and is also supplied to the Indian Army. But even Seng frames this as a long transition, likely well over a decade, which is a reminder that autonomy may be advancing quickly, while military adoption, accountability, and scale move on a much harder timeline. Google DeepMind's Co-Scientist is one of those AI research tools where the interesting part is not just that it generates ideas, but how it forces those ideas to compete. Built on Gemini and described in Nature, the system uses a supervisor agent to run 3 phases: generation, where hypotheses are proposed and clustered; debate, where reflection agents critique them and rank them through ELO-style tournaments; and evolution, where the strongest ideas are refined with new literature. It can draw on web search, ChemBL, Uniprot, and in testing, AlphaFold. The case studies are concrete. In liver fibrosis work with Professor Gary Peltz, it identified a repurposed candidate that blocked 91% of the scarring response in lab tests, and other collaborations covered ALS, cellular aging, liver disease, infectious disease, and Calico Life Sciences aging hypotheses, later confirmed in the lab. In practical terms, DeepMind is trying to compress the early research loop, especially in fields drowning in papers and complex biological signals. But the healthy way to read this is as a partner, not an oracle. Scientists still own the decisions and lab validation, and as more than 100 institutions begin engaging with the tool, the bottleneck may shift from idea generation to verification, data quality, and knowing which machine-suggested path deserves real-world resources. Google's Pix launch shows how fast AI design is becoming a mainstream productivity fight. Pix is built into Google Workspace and lets people make social graphics, invitations, marketing materials, and mock-ups from text prompts, with teachers and small business owners clearly in the target audience. It is starting with selected testers at Google I/O and is expected to roll out more broadly to Google AI Ultra subscribers this summer. What makes this more than another image generator is the editing layer. Google says Gemini will let users change individual parts of a design through prompts, click and comment feedback similar to Google Docs, or direct manual edits, like changing the time on a birthday invitation without remaking the whole image. The source frames the generation layer around Google's own image generation technology, with emphasis on precise text rendering, real-world knowledge, and detailed visuals. The stakes are pretty straightforward. Canva made design accessible through templates and collaboration. Google is betting that AI plus Workspace can make visual creation feel as normal as editing a document. The user question is control. Can the tool make small, reliable changes without breaking the rest of the design? If it can, this becomes much more useful than a flashy image demo. Today's through line is control. Anthropic wants more control over the research process. Alibaba wants more control over AI compute. The Pentagon wants cheaper autonomous systems it can scale. DeepMind wants scientists to sort stronger hypotheses faster. And Google wants everyday users to control design details with prompts. The technology is moving quickly, but the real value is in whether people can measure it, verify it, and trust it in the work that matters. Thank you for staying informed with Digital Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.